In the ancient days of the Roman Empire, when the cross was still considered a curse and confessing Christ meant death, a missionary was sent to a wild and pagan land called Gaul, what we now know as France. His name was Denis, a man of courage, prayer, and unshakable peace. The emperor had sent soldiers and governors to control the people. Heaven, instead, sent Denis to win their hearts. He arrived with two faithful companions, Rusticus, a priest, and Eleutherius, a deacon. Together they walked the roads of a land filled with idols, sorcerers, and fear. They spoke of a new kingdom, one not made by Roman swords but by the Spirit of God. They preached in secret caves, in forests by moonlight, in homes where families trembled to listen. Everywhere they went, miracles followed. The sick were healed, hearts were changed, and even pagans began to whisper, "These men speak with the power of heaven." But not everyone was pleased. The Roman governor, furious that the people were turning away from the old gods, ordered their arrest. Denis, Rusticus, and Eleutherius were seized, beaten, and thrown into a dark cell. They were tortured for days, whipped, starved, and threatened with death. Yet not a word of fear escaped their lips. When the governor demanded they deny Christ, Denis answered calmly, "I worship the one true God, who made heaven and earth. You may destroy this body, but my soul belongs to him alone." The sentence was death. They were led to the top of a hill outside Paris, Montmartre, the Hill of Martyrs. There, before a crowd of soldiers and citizens, the executioner raised his sword. One by one, the three companions bowed their heads in prayer. The blade fell, and the world fell silent. But then, something extraordinary happened. As the head of Saint Denis touched the ground, he did not collapse. He stood. Before the horrified eyes of his executioners, he lifted his own severed head, held it in his hands, and began to walk. Step after step, blood marking the earth, he continued to preach the gospel, his voice clear and strong, carrying his head for miles until he reached a small valley. There, he finally fell to his knees and laid his body to rest. That place became holy ground. A chapel was built over it, and in time, the great basilica of Saint Denis rose, where the kings of France would one day be buried, honoring the first bishop and martyr of Paris. Centuries later, the story of Saint Denis still echoes through time, not as a tale of horror, but of faith that cannot be silenced. He reminds us that true courage isn't shown by the absence of fear, but by the decision to stand for truth even when the sword is raised. Because the voice of faith does not end in death. It only grows louder.